This is the Ikea APPLARO outdoor storage, but there's a problem with it. It's been out of stock for a very long time. They also removed it from their US stores and their US online page, which means it got discontinued. Since you can't find it anymore and it's discontinued, I'm gonna show you how to build one. So to get started, the plans are gonna be available in the description below, also the mentions, so go check that out if you wanna build your own. So this is the basic look, and this is the lid. That is all that we're building, a box and a lid. So to get started, make sure you follow the directions. On the plans, I'm gonna show all the specific measurements of where you need to make the holes, and everything's gonna be very detailed out. Now, I did build mine almost close to spec as the one that Ikea sells, but you can adjust all the dimensions and build it how you prefer. Now the first thing that we're going to do is the slats. These are going to take 2 holes. They should be right in the middle of each board. And we're going to fit these, as you can see in the background. We're going to go with the lid first and make sure everything fits nicely. Now we're going to put all of this together with some glue and some dowels. So the first thing that you need to do is make sure that the dowels fit on the holes that you're making. And that's exactly what I am doing here. Now you want these dowels to actually fit in nicely, not too tight, but then again, not too loose, so they actually provide some support, because they will be providing support throughout the entire lid, the sides, and the whole construction of this storage case. Now that I've tested and everything fits, I'm gonna start marking all the boards where I need them. Now for the lid, I am going to use 2. That's 2 holes per every slat that we're going to do. And these are going to be the middle ones, and they're going to attach to the side pieces. Here we're just going to fast forward. I'm going to show you everything, how I'm just marking everything. And the process for me was mark, punch, drill, and then repeat. It gets a little tedious, but it's just very repetitive. Now for the sides, you do want to measure out your holes, but since they're not always perfect, always line them up with a slat that you've already used and make sure that they all line up. Again, we're going to mark, then we're going to punch, and then we're going to drill. Now I did take the liberty of drilling both sides at the same time, so that way they line up. Now throughout this whole entire build, it's just going to be glue and dowels. I do recommend to start with one side and start hammering very gently every piece, because the holes are not perfect, so they are going to need a little bit of persuasion to fit right. Now don't worry if they're a little bit off, that's fine. When you put the other side of the lid, you're going to actually force them where they should go. Now be patient, this takes some time and a little bit of persuasion as well. Now this is what the lid should look like. Next, we're gonna move on to the sides. Now for the sides, after doing the lid, I realized, hey, I really don't need 2 dowels at every slat, since these are not gonna carry any weight. So I'm just gonna mark the middle of the boards. Again, I'm gonna mark, punch, and drill 1 hole, and that's what I'm gonna use for the entire sides, front and back. Now for the corners, it's very simple. It's just glue 2 sides together, and then we're going to do a little dry run here where we're going to mark where I need those holes to be on the sides. Now at this point, you do want to measure everything very, very carefully and make sure it is right where you want it. Now, it might not be perfect, as you can tell, the sizes are not identical, but it is where I wanted them to be. Now I'm gonna do this, since I already marked one side, I'm gonna grab the other side and mark it identically on the other side. Again, I recommend to always dry fit everything, make sure they are where they're gonna be. All your little lines are gonna line up, and if you're good to go, give it a thumbs up. Again, we're gonna repeat with this mark, punch, and drill. After we drilled everything, we're gonna apply some glue, put the dowels, and repeat the process. Now you're gonna see that I am missing a dowel there, and it's because that board for the side actually had a nut in there and it kind of fell off. So we're actually just gonna use some glue on that one. Since it's the side, it's not holding any real weight, we will be good to go. So again, with very soft persuasion and delicate hammering, you can get them to fit right where they should go. If you do have a knot like I had here, make sure you grab some sawdust, put some glue, and make yourself some putty to cover that up. Now we're going to repeat the same process we did on the other side. Now we're just creating both sides that we're later going to put together with the middle slats, which will cover the front and the back. Again, with a little bit of persuasion, it should fit right in. Now again, for the front and back sides, I decided I'm only gonna go with one hole in the middle. This is gonna make them fit a lot easier, and that way if they're not perfectly aligned, they will still fit nicely. So we repeat, mark, punch, drill. So now that we're ready, we're gonna start putting the glue, put in all the dowels where they go. Now this whole process is you should do it all together at the same time, because that way it will dry, the glue will dry up nicely and square where they should be. So try to make all of it all at the same time. You put all the sides together, the back and the front as well, and that way when it dries, it will be square. The last thing that you wanna do is have it dry up before you put it all together, and then it's just gonna be, the slats are not gonna be aligned with each other. Again, with some patience and a little bit of persuasion, they should fit in nicely. When you're gonna let this dry, make sure that you either tie it down or make sure that it is square when how you place it for it to dry, because as soon as it dries, this will stay just the way it is and it will not move anymore. Now I did forget to mention how to build the bottom slates. You can go either way, however you like. If you're not gonna put too much weight on it inside of the storage, you can just go with 2 bars at the bottom, or the way that I did it was 1 support beam on the bottom and then just different slats in the middle to keep everything inside from falling. And now our favorite part of all woodworkers, the sanding part. It is very nice and peaceful to see the wood change in time lapses. After sanding, you can go ahead and stain it or paint it. I went with an espresso look. I also did it very, very lightly at the beginning and actually left it in some spots for the actual pine color to see through. I wanted kind of like that wash look, so that's what I went for, and I accomplished it very well actually. Turned out very nicely. Again, you can paint this or stain it however you like. That is the beauty of making your own. You don't have to follow IKEA's recommendation on colors. If you are going to use it for outdoors, make sure you protect your wood with a poly at the end. Or if you get the stain with a poly, make sure you follow all the instructions and do it correctly so your wood is protected and covered everywhere, and it will last you pretty much forever. So there you go, guys. This is the look that I was going for. It's a little bit rustic, not perfect. And we're gonna apply this to the lid as well. Now, whenever you're staining, I do recommend it to do it as fast as you can, and do not leave any stained puddles or drips, because they will stain more than the rest of the board, and it's a pain to get it nice and even. So again, guys, if you're looking for the plans, it will be in the description down below. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this build. I had a blast building this. It turned out very, very, very well. I'm going to be giving this one to my parents because they actually have purchased it before and now they need more, and since IKEA doesn't have it, they asked me to build one for them. Let me know in the comments down below if you like this build or if you're going to try to build one for yourself. Hope you enjoyed this build. Please let me know in the comments down below what would you like for me to build next. Give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next build.